It's gonna be my.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna have to pull up my production notes because this is what's crazy about TikTok. There's a whole nother world that lives on TikTok that I think most of the world wouldn't know about unless you were on TikTok and consumed it. By what I mean is the swinging Mormon moms, the world did not know about until it came to like kind of Hulu. I don't really know where they are now, but it became mainstream culture. But on TikTok, there were so many storylines happening that all of us knew, oh, this is happening, but not everybody knew that it was happening. But we even knew them to the point of like, someone's got a baby, like to the point where we would talk to each other and follow each other on TikTok. Okay.
And the other crazy thing about algorithms is that like somebody who had zero interest in Mormon moms or a mom or a family or would they never be served this whole storyline?
Sure. Like I'm sure my kids weren't.
Like our sons were never served that. Yet, I mean, it is. We can't.
We should make sure that did not cancel. I don't think it does anymore.
We know so much. We know so much. So I never want to take for granted that a lot of people are like you're not on TikTok. You don't know. Again, the common parent is coming out with a course. Everyone who is listening to this, I want to make sure that you are subscribed to the CAP, or you're going to follow our stories. In the next couple weeks, this course is going to come out and it's going to give you everything that you need to know for your children being online, everything that we know and we take for granted because we've learned about it, we've been a part of it, but we understand most parents aren't a part of it. It will give you the guardrails to feel a little bit more in control and to have an understanding with your children about what's happening online.
Because we say this because a lot of these kids think that what is happening online is fact. And then there's people who are actually becoming like journalists for crimes and then trying to solve them through podcasts and TikTok conversations. And then they've made their own news channels and then they report news and the kids are watching it. And it's not really like, we don't know if it's fact checked or what, because they're looking at it because a person has a microphone and then they are independent reporters of situations that they're just reporting on. And sometimes I see things and it's from not even the same area. Like they'll be like, this just happened. And then the footage is old because you can't really fact check the footage when it gets sent to you.
Sometimes you think that you're seeing news and then you check the date and you're like, this was 2022.
I know. I just said on Instagram, I got served something like it was brand new from September. And it was the first time I had seen it. I'm like, what is going on?
Well, one of our children was just discussing that and they were saying something was fact. And my husband had to have that exact conversation with them. And he's like, but it was Daily Mail. And he was just like, you have to be very careful online, the clips and the sources. And there's a lot of clickbait. And sometimes even when they want to clickbait you click, and that's not even the story that they're talking about.
We're about to just do it right now. Just so you know, we're about to synopsis this one story on TikTok that is so massive. And
is it massive? This is what I also wonder. Is it massive? Or did I make us going to this
think it's
tunnel?
massive because there's millions of views around it. There's hashtags around it. And then there's multiple relationships within the case that people are involved in. So they're having, what's that thing called when you have a relationship with someone online? It's like you're having there's a relationship where they feel like they need to know what's next. So they're watching a real life crime, soap opera, court case unfold, and then making opinions on what's going on. So we will just synopsis what this is about.
And before you start, I just want to say that sometimes when you fall into a deep dive of a story, whether it's a crime, whether it's an affair, whether it's something, sometimes you can have a little bit of guilt. And I've felt this with this story as well. Like, why am I giving this horrible story more attention than it deserves? And I've actually heard people say that, like there's also TikTok people that kind of make fun of this case and they're just like why are people so obsessed with a horrible person? Like, you're making a star out of a murderer. And I saw this, I don't know who this girl is, but it came up and her name was Bunny, and I guess she has a podcast. I don't know.
I know her.
She's called Dumb Blonde.
Yeah.
So she apparently got involved with it, and then I guess we'll tell the story, but her partner, I don't know if it was a partner or someone she was with, and he was like, it's very natural in this day of crime and true crime and all of this that people would naturally want to know more about the story and about,
because it's in real time,
and about the actual murderer, to understand that person, because apparently Bunny reached out to this person that we're about to tell you about.
Oh,
and she kind of regretted it.
On that side note, when you say this, is when we were in one of our last podcasts, we were talking about jumping. And you were like, well, if it was my sons, I'd want, but you had said it was two friends and a thing. It wasn't like your family. And I think like if someone's trying to take someone, you get involved. If someone's trying to like actually kidnap someone, those are the times. But what's happening is kids are actually just filming and not getting help and not doing any. It's like a natural response to just go film rather than do action oriented things. And I think it's your first response. So you can say, I want you to get involved. If their natural response is to not get involved, we need to give them a plan, because I think in that moment, you're not going to think.
Yeah.
So it's our responsibility as adults to say, if this happens, this is what you would do. Yeah. If it was your siblings and someone was trying to take them, then you would obviously intervene. Because some of the kids on Max's hockey team, they do like a fight class together. And I actually asked the instructor, hey, in this situation, what would you do? And he goes, I mean, it depends. Are they trying to take them? Because aggression meets aggression. So if you can go, you should say, I don't want to fight, and either yell and get attention. But the circumstances are different, but most of them pull out. And I think the person in the situation did film the fight rather than get help and didn't help. But that is not a thought. That's a natural response. And I also said, someone I know, they had footage. Someone had broken into their house and they were filming the person in their house rather than calling 911. And
I wonder, like, I know that the natural reaction is to film things, but I wonder if, because so many things like online are caught because things are caught on, people are caught because things are caught on camera, that part of their thinking actually is, I want to be able to identify this. I want to be able to show people and identify this person. Like, I wonder if that's a new instinct. Like, one instinct is fight, one is flight, and one is get evidence because we have our phones.
I know.
Like, I don't know. Maybe
it seems to be.
Yeah.
So I think as us as parents,
fight, flight, or film.
But because this is part of what we're talking about, when you see everything online and you're watching it for entertainment, it becomes a natural instinct to go and start filming. Like, you feel like you have a barrier, maybe, of like, I'm filming you, so you can't get me.
Well, and I had almost a confrontation with someone, very subtle. It's nothing really, but when they were looking at me, I pulled up the camera and they walked away.
You did?
Yeah. It was an elderly woman.
You never told me this.
Oh, yeah. About the trespassing?
No.
I'll tell you after. It's another story. But when it's another thing.
Your natural instinct was to take a camera.
It wasn't natural. I knew, because people are scared to be caught on camera. So if you pull up the camera, often people stop doing what they're doing. So I pulled up the camera. She walked away.
Well, oh my God, this is a whole new problem we have on our hands. So when I was thinking,
the weapon of evidence,
we have to teach them, no, don't stop and film. Go, because that's going to do nothing.
And you're going to waste time.
Go get help. I was just thinking in my head, because if that's your first instinct, use your phone for something useful, not to film the situation, and share it with people to see, like, look what happened. Anyways, Wade Wilson, here we go. This is an ongoing conversation on TikTok. Now that we've said it, it's going to come up on your algorithm. You're welcome.
And I do want you to know that I really struggle with the guilt of giving this attention. I want you to know that internally, I tried to quit.
And you can't.
And when I did quit for a bit, but I went back last night and now I want more.
The case of Wade Wilson, a convicted Florida murderer, has captured public attention partly due to his name, which is a coincidence with the popular Marvel character Deadpool. And more recently, through viral TikTok, that's the dart.
So he's called the Deadpool Killer.
Through viral TikTok videos related to his past relationships and crimes, Wilson was sentenced to death for the 2019 murders of two women.
Sorry, it was in 2019 that he did this?
And he killed them hours apart.
Oh, I didn't know. I know everything with the murder, but hold on. And you can tell them. But I thought this happened this year.
No, 2019. Wilson's case is notable for his unsettling demeanor in court. His violent history has raised questions about his early warning signs and his justice system's response to domestic violence allegations. His ex-girlfriend spoke out on TikTok detailing alleged abuse, and she was sharing it also to the police, and she thinks it could have been prevented. So she has her own TikTok account. He has a TikTok account. Often the stories start and then they get involved in who the perpetrator is. In 2019, she reported an assault by Wilson in which he allegedly restrained and attacked her in a car. She claims the police dismissed her report, a decision she believes allowed his violent behavior to escalate unchecked. And then he went to go kill the other people.
That is such a shame. And we hear about that all the time, is that if he had been seriously looked into,
there's probably enough time.
They might have caught whatever is going on before he snapped.
And he was described as initially charming and like handsome, but after drug use, his behavior shifted. His family is complex. He was adopted by a well-meaning, supportive couple in Florida. He seemed to have a stable, middle-class upbringing. His adoptive parents, described as church-going and caring, tried hard to help him, but he continually struggled with authority, made troubling relationships, and began using drugs at an early age. Friends from his youth recall him as troubled, often involved in risky behavior like theft and vandalism. Despite his family's best efforts, Wilson's issues intensified as he grew older and led him to murdering people. Here's where it gets interesting. Here's why TikTok's unhinged right now.
And sorry, also he got in touch with his birth father, who he's still in touch with, who they were like 15 when they had him, but he also, as far as I have seen, seems like a nice guy.
Where's the mom? Birth mom?
She's not a part. She's not a part of it.
Since his conviction, Wade Wilson has received so much attention from not just outside prison, but over 3,900 messages in his jail inbox from women. They're romantic. They're supportive. They show a morbid fascination with his crime. This level of correspondence reflects a pattern seen in cases involving notorious criminals where individuals express curiosity or even romantic interest despite the nature of their convictions. He has 4,000 messages, and then online you see them all depicting the way he is in court with his lawyer. It's like they want him and his lawyer. They're shipping him and his lawyer, and they say the way they slow-mo the camera, where they'll slow-mo him looking at his lawyer, and they make it romantic.
Well, a couple things. Number one, since being in jail, he has completely tattooed his face like the Joker. He also has terrible, I believe he's probably like prejudiced, racist, like everything bad. So really bad. When they said his, something about his demeanor in court, uneasy demeanor in court.
He's unhinged.
He's actually calm. Confident.
I think it's more that he does he do anything weird?
Nope. He sits there. He just looks kind of sexy.
With all those face tattoos.
It's really weird. It's like you can see his attractiveness underneath the tattoos.
Is it because it's a 15-second clip?
I mean, I've watched a lot of them, and yes, I've watched all those Spanish speaking ones where they turn it into almost like a romance movie, and they put filters on him, and he goes slow. But he's very tall. He's very big. Like he's got a really big body. Like especially like compared to like the guards, he's got such a presence. And online, obviously, we see his before. Really cute, really nice teeth. Dimples.
You know you're smiling when you talk about him, which is so fucked up. I just wanted to I'm calling you out on this right now. Like you are smiling about him because if you knew what he actually did, which you know the crime, which is something that I am. Mm-hmm. I think
it's horrifying, and I've even seen like the testimonial of. I feel like people might hate me for this. I'm just trying to be honest. Along with, I guess there's other people. I don't know what it is, but I've seen like the son of one of the women who was murdered, like testify and basically took my mom. Like but the attention is like not, it's all about him. And also people have given him so much money when he was first in jail. He would ask people for like $5 because he can get stuff. Now he has so much money in there. And one of the updates on him is that Apparently, or he believes, like, he's delusional, right? He thinks, but one of the lawyers apparently that got OJ Simpson cleared is interested in the case, and he was having a call with some woman. Now, all of this could very much be untrue, and Wade thinks this is what's happening as well,
because it's TikTok.
And he's like talking to one of the current women that he's talking to, and he's like we're gonna can you even believe that I'm actually gonna be in the free world? Like, he believes he's going to get out of this. He murdered 2 people.
And so they were there for no reason. It was within hours of each other.
Didn't know them.
Okay, so tell us what happened so you know the crime.
Yeah, he also was in jail a little bit before, and he'd gotten out, and him and his girlfriend were like, hey, we're going to fix this up. He'd gotten all of his teeth knocked out, so they were going to get him new teeth. And then one day, because she's like on the call, what happened? He's like, I don't know. He went to a bar one night. He was like just talking to some girls, thought he was cute, whatever. He goes home with this one woman, and he basically just chokes her out, kills her.
Like, nothing happens.
I don't know if they were like, I think that the idea was that he went home with her because they were having something romantic going on. But no,
he hadn't gone to the bar to go kill someone that night. Mm-hmm. He just was like, let's go. I'm having fun with you. Let's go home.
Mm-hmm. He also claims that he'd been given, like, he was doing drugs at the time. And by the way, he doesn't really look like a druggie. Like, he still looks like handsome. And he says the drugs just were, bad. And so he kills her. And then then he goes and he tries to attack his girlfriend at her work. And he's just trying to explain to her, he says, what he just did. And he's like trying to, but she's just like, why are you so aggressive? She's like, and so she gets rid of him, and then he goes off. And then, he gets this woman, he gets her.
Within how many hours? Do you want me to look it up?
Yeah, I actually thought it was
days,
but not many, if more than one. And he gets her to come, like he's asking for direction, and apparently she just gets in the car, and he chokes her out, and he thinks she's dead, but then somehow she gets out of the car, and he runs her over with the car 10 times. Calls his dad, tells his dad everything he just did.
Hours apart.
Sorry, guys.
So
he killed the woman. Then he went to go try and talk to his girlfriend. Both women
were strangled.
Mm-hmm. So he choked her out.
The second one too.
Yeah, but somehow she got out of the car and he ran her over. And he calls his birth dad, and he tells his birth dad what he just did.
And the birth dad calls the cops.
Of course.
Natalie, I can't believe, when you hear the crimes, because the crimes are basically on TikTok, this isn't even a 24, a whatever it's called. This is just on a.
That's going to be a Dateline. Actually, that's going to be it.
One was found near her apartment, and one was found near the workplace. He just has a history of violent behavior.
He does. So when he was, I guess his birth mother had said something when he was a good boy, played sports, nice, everything. But then I guess when he turned 11, he said, there's something wrong with me. I feel like there's something wrong with me. Took him to a child psychologist. Child psychologist tried to help. They put him on medication. He was bipolar. And then he felt better. So he went off the medication. And then with everything that he had, he turned to drugs.
And there's no reasons. He has absolutely no reasons. Their exact reasons behind it are largely speculative, and there's no clear motive.
And he has private conversations with people that are close to him, asking him, why did you do it? And he said, I just wanted to in the time. I don't know why I did it.
Does he want to do it again, or he doesn't know?
No, he says, I wish I didn't do it. God, I wish I hadn't done that.
But how, God, and what is the, how are they private? But or everything's in jail.
I guess
leaked.
Every jail conversation can be leaked. I have
or
heard.
Taped, probably taped.
So
who's leaking them? That feels weird too.
It's they're all public.
And how many girls is he talking to?
Oh, there has been so many.
And
one of them, it was she was I guess she's a lawyer, but not his lawyer, moving to Florida to be close so they could come see him. Now, I think
he calls them all baby, so he doesn't have to say their names.
Oh, yeah.
And he gets them to talk dirty to him?
Yeah, sometimes they talk dirty, and he laughs a lot. He's always laughing.
I wonder how much phone calls he gets a day.
It seems like he'll be like, oh, I'll call you later. And he'll message. He's like, I send you emails. You send emails, and then they can come to this place. And they can give money, and then they can visit him. Now, I did see potentially that his death sentence I saw one thing saying he'll be killed soon, but you're never really killed soon. You go over to death row and it feels like you wait for a long time.
Just wow.
But he was very excited on his last call that he thinks he's going to get out. Now, he sounds like fucking annoying. Like if you heard a guy talk like that, you would be like, he's in a delusional world. But at the same time, if you were in jail and you killed someone and you're maybe in jail for the rest of life, wouldn't you kind of be delusional as well? Like becoming empathetic and sympathetic and thoughtful and all of that, like it's not worth his time. And he's got all these women and he's got all this money.
I mean, in July 2024, that's why I came back up again, a jury recommended the death penalty.
Yes.
Citing the brutality and premeditated nature of the crimes. So Florida law requires a supermajority jury vote for such a sentence, which he received.
And he should. And I definitely think there's clearly a mental health problem that was not addressed. Even his parents knew when he was young. But I don't think I know he's not safe for public and that he wouldn't. I feel like
these women going to take him back? Like they're not afraid. Like, is he going to like move if he gets out? Is he going to like?
How could he possibly get out?
I mean, I have no.
He was sentenced to the death penalty.
I feel like someone just said they can flip or maybe he just thinks they can flip it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he thinks he's delusional. I mean,
these poor victims, the poor victims' families that have to go.
Because he's like famous now and he loves it.
Ew.
And he's got a team. He refers to his team, and I think they have like social media, and like he's trying because he thinks that he could become like he thinks he could probably sell his book. He could probably have a Netflix special.
Where's the ex-girlfriend right now?
He's also a dad.
Wow.
He has a daughter. Where is she? I mean, I felt like she was doing some calls there for a while. I think like some of those exes were kind of like falling into the trap a little bit.
Maybe because they want to become famous too.
Yeah.
That it's so fucked up. If you guys don't know like the TikTok world of crime, because there are so many crime pages. There are so many crime pages that you just fall into and you hear the 911 phone calls. It is so traumatic. I can't even believe that like children are exposed to this and they can hear it. That's what's so disturbing to me, that they can go and like see this as their everyday. And even the conversation around that crime is like glorified. I think to myself, are girls younger than you and maybe teenagers are attracted to him? And then they normalize like bad boy behavior, because
I think this is the phenomenon of all these people who like all the biggest like serial killers of all time. Like they have like women who want to have relationships.
Why?
I know. And then there's so many women who marry someone who's incarcerated.
Why?
I mean, I know, because I think
like
there's
biology. Like why? There's got to be something biological.
So I would initially think that like the women that want that they're getting a I heard one of Menendez's wives, like when she was interviewed about it, and she was like, because at the time we know that they killed her. Everybody knows they killed their parents, so she's basically married a killer, and she seems like a normal woman. So let's talk about like a normal woman. She loved the conversation. They were actually like,
they were unique because they had severe abuse.
Okay, so a woman who wants
like just a serial, like a Ted Bundy.
Yeah, I think that with the serial, first of all, I guess I read somewhere there's a natural reaction to a bad boy. I know these are killers; it's worse than a bad boy. But also the men have like it's like they can't go anywhere, and they're so desperate for the woman's attention that the woman feels like she has someone devoted to her who
behind bars.
Yeah. Well, in one of the Menendez's got divorced from his first wife because he was cheating with another one on like online.
And are they together?
Oh, that one, I don't know. And I think maybe he's on to his third now, but maybe it's like if you never really had a man who really treated you well and couldn't put his hands on you, maybe like they have.
Can we like raise the bar for women? Like what the fuck?
I mean, I would not say it's the majority of people.
That's a lot of women that are attracted, and a lot of fascinations. Like you are attracted to him, but you know that it's not appropriate. Why other people? I absolutely like. I can't even watch him.
Yeah.
I can't even watch crime. Most crime I cannot even. I have no.
Well, I recently watched one, and
just husband crime.
The guy who played the serial killer, which was a true story, he was so unattractive. It's like
you didn't.
Only because he's For me, it's only because he's attractive.
Oh, which makes it just the whole thing is like, I get more fascinated about the people who don't have the violent behaviors or the like, just the
Out of
how
nowhere.
can you be like a stand up, have a job, friends in the community,
good parents,
and then kill your wife. That one to me is like and
not think and not also like also not think about
your kids and kill your kids too. Your kids,
but aside from the violence and the crazy and the snap, but the audacity to think that you're going to get away with it and that you can live the rest of your life with that secret.
It's scary.
I also I've watched all of I'm a Killer.
Do we take a second break?
I don't think so.
Let's take a second break so she can tell us about I'm a Killer.
What is interesting about I'm a Killer on Netflix, they're not super, super entertaining, but what's interesting is these people are the majority of them are, well, first of all, the statistics of how many people are murder people in the United States per year is like crazy. And like so many of them are either a neighbor or a personal relationship.
It's just crazy.
Neighbor is in there as one of them, as like a high risk for murder. In these interviews, the person is, most of them are admitting that they murdered, but they're telling how it happened and why, which is for me like even like that one about the kidnapper that was the American Nightmare, and they thought that she was impersonating the movie Gone Girl. The kidnapping is a very interesting story, but I want to talk to the guy. Why did you want to become a kidnapper?
What's your fascination with crime?
The people who do it, how they got there. How did we get here? I love when they go in 1962 when so-and-so was born, and then you go through their life and then you see like, and so often there's something.
Yeah.
I just recently watched one and there was literally
nothing.
Like he was married to a woman for some, I mean, there's a lot of those where married to people. She's like, I would have had he was the kindest, nicest teacher, husband, father. Who'd he kill? Multiple, 2 for sure, like young, like women, and one was her bridesmaid, but she didn't. She's like, if it weren't for me, they never would have known each other. But it was years later. And then another one, they're like, we're sure there's so many more. Nobody had any like.
So he'd just go kill someone and come home, but not his wife.
And never violent to his wife. Never, 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 never.
What the fuck is wrong with people?
So, I mean, that's a long one, but it's that person. How do you get there? And I now we're diagnosing mental health so much sooner. I find it really, really interesting when we're talking about a long time ago, and they even acknowledge the mental health, because I know that didn't happen for so long. So now I'm just so, it's just so curious. It's like, what does it take to be a killer?
What does it take? What's a switch? I mean, I honest to God, I prefer to not even go down. I don't even look. I want to hear it. I'm like this. La 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 la. I don't know. I don't like the news.
And you know what the crazy thing about a lot of the murders is that the person who did it, the way that they tell it, it's like it wasn't that big of a deal.
I know it really. It's too bad they don't. I mean,
never done it before.
They should
never do it again.
I think if people saw the victims' families after they watched the crimes, I think you wouldn't be able to probably watch as much crime as you could because I think that they kind of like.
Yeah, you get quick interviews with them. It's nice when, like in I Am a Killer, they spend a ton of time with the victim's family, like in the house, meeting everybody, and really they're really like
respectful of that.
And I like when they talk to the family as well, because
who's making money off the murderers? Like someone's making money.
The less time you spend with the victim's family, the less you want to watch and the less interesting it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you heard what it did to the families, you'd be like, that's raw.
It's too sad to watch and hear.
Yeah, especially when there's kids involved, and that was my mom, and like it's like horrific.
Yeah,
like,
and all of the shows
don't have that.
And the people, the children that are left behind, they're not interviewing the children most often.
No, or what their lives are. Like how you're picking up from that.
And some of them do. Some of the shows really do. And my son asked me once, why would the family do, like, why do all these families go on and tell the story about the death of their like loved one or whatever? And I'm like, because a lot of people after they lose someone really feel like it's their duty to put it out in the world, to look for red flags or signals or something so that it doesn't happen to someone else
they love.
So it's like so important. And one of them that I was watching happened through like a dating app. And my son didn't want to watch it. And I don't like, they don't usually watch with me, but he came home and he's like, I can't watch this, it's too scary. I'm like, but some of these things are important to watch, how these things can happen.
I mean,
you don't have to watch the murder, but like, and then that got me into like in Snapchat, how people can buy drugs, and then getting into phones, and how this one woman, Dr. Laura Berman, her son died of a fentanyl overdose, which he got from a drug dealer on Snapchat, and talking about how important it is to be able to get into your kids' phones, because she needed a death certificate to get into his phone.
Mm-hmm.
And so meanwhile, while she couldn't get a death certificate, this drug dealer was out selling it to other people who were dying.
I know.
So I was telling him that, and he's like, so you can't get into, and I was like, that's why it's so important that and the reason that the family I watched yesterday was able to get into his Snapchat is because friends and family, like they knew what his passwords would be
to get in.
Mm-hmm. So they found out within, like, who was he talking to? They contacted the person he was talking to. So know your kids' passwords, know the passwords to the phones, like, or at least like get them to put it down somewhere, because it can give you so much knowledge, or if they go missing, like where you can find them.
Wow. See, that's the other problem with watching so much crime is that you're like, sometimes you like, how many people go missing? Hopefully not many.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully.
No, I mean, I've never known. In my whole life, I knew one person get kidnapped, and I think most people that I know, or two, one died, one didn't. Most people don't ever know.
You actually knew them for real life?
Well, one I knew got kidnapped, but they got given back. It was for ransom. And then one was a really close family friend.
For real kidnapped?
Yeah. You probably know it too.
It
was a long, long, long time ago. Well,
how long were they kidnapped for?
I don't know. We'd have to Google it.
Like, you knew, like, they're your friend?
It was my friend's cousin. It's a famous family, so it was for money. And then the other one was, it was like, basically my closest family friend, it was on his baseball team, and it happened in Brampton. And the boy, when we were kids, was kidnapped from the mall, and he was murdered. And I remember when he was missing.
Sorry.
Actual kidnap. Yep. And they had footage of the mall of him taking him.
How old were you when this happened?
I was probably like 10.
Okay, well, so now I'm beginning to, like, these are fundamental core memories that might be leading to why you need to know the why.
Anybody who was kidnapped or murdered?
Are you sick? No. No. Kidnapped. No, I don't. No, casually. Yeah, I know a few people who were kidnapped and murdered. No, I don't. I mean, I know people who are murdered, but domestically. Not strangers. Domestically, yes. Strangers, no.
Oh, yeah. Strangers is really uncommon. Really.
Well, except you know too.
Yep. But one was random.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The other one was for money. It was
and
targeted.
You actually knew the family?
The targeted family?
No, the other one.
Well, like, I mean, they were best friends with our family friends. So no, did I know the parents or did I know the kid itself? But I remember when he went missing.
Oh, how old was the kid?
Let's say, because I remember it so well, and we can also Google it.
You were. This is clearly very big window into you and your crime fetish.
If I remember it, if I was 10, I think he was 12.
Wow.
And when they saw the footage and they saw the boy go with him, and no struggle.
Like, he just walked with the guy.
He walked with him. So the biggest, craziest time, and we did a lot of, like, in school and at home and stuff like that. Like, what could someone say to you to make you go without a struggle? Do you know what I mean?
Like, my mom came to get you.
And his mom was just inside the store.
I now know why. I now know why you have.
And there was a search.
Oh. Okay, well, now everything's aligning. You're like, your favorite thing is to go back to when and why it happened.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know why that.
No, I'm saying you.
I wonder if they ever found. Of course, they
you
found
must
the
have been
killer.
10 and not able to. You must have wanted to know why. You just exactly explained why you like crime, because you lived it,
and everybody lived it around me. Like, everyone knew about it.
Well, I know, and I know Giselle, and I'm sure she was not gentle about that conversation.
She probably showed me the footage, and she was like, "You see him walking away?
Yeah, for sure." Now I know you were, because that you would have never seen anything like that before, because we didn't have social media.
Oh my God, we have to Google it over lunch.
Like I cannot believe you never told me this.
I can't believe I never went into like forensics, or like not forensics, but like
I 1,000% know why your crime addiction of the why.
Okay, but
we just unearthed
but here's a question. A very, very, very big, huge population is just like me, and they don't know people that were kidnapped.
But that's why I asked you your why.
And
because your why was specific.
I mean, I didn't know. I just said I knew someone was kidnapped.
No, because you
said people don't go missing. I said, well, I know people who went missing.
No, I'm saying, why do you like crime? And you said, because I like to know how we got here. So I'm assuming when you were 10, you just had the conversation of nobody knew why that person went with that person. So in your head, you probably want to know why every single person went missing or like got killed or got murdered, why they did that, because there's no answers for why that person did that.
My memory of what people hypothesized was that person said something about hurting his family or his mom.
And his mom's right there.
I want to go back and Google that. And I assume the guy was caught.
And the fact that I didn't know this about you. No, I know a lot of people are obsessed with crime, but I bet everyone has a different, like, I only like one kind of crime show.
The husbands that kill their wives.
Yeah. I don't like it. As someone who loves psychology, that is fascinating to me because I know we have two tracks in our brains, and I'm just curious how long that track was there and what gives them the audacity to think that they can go and take someone who trusted them and they had children with. Like, to me, that is the most like.
Well, it also it doesn't make so much more sense when you look back and it was like a lifelong abuse.
Oh my God!
But when there's none of that.
And most often the husbands, like, parents are like, what? Like, there's no.
I just think so much about that one man who.
Lacey.
No, the one guy who was like, it was in the past few years, and he killed his wife and daughters and put them in the barrels where he worked. He confessed to his own dad, and the whole thing is on tape. And you see his dad, and you're just like.
His dad's heartbroken. And not like, just like, what the fuck did you do? Just like, how could you do that? It's just, so to me, it's like how long were you thinking of this, and that is a person you like gave vows to, you had children with, like, you see the way your children look at the whole thing.
Because then also you see, like, when you went back, let's say, to that story, his name was Chris. If you look back at you see how we got to a place where it was time for divorce. Like, that's clear. They've been going through a lot. But a lot of people end up in that situation and they get divorced.
Well, and I know more than one person. I know this real life situation like 3 times over. 3 times over. That's crazy. 3 times. And they're normal. Everyone's like, no. Like, not a flag. Not a flag. Not a violence, no abuse, often it has to do with money. Or like something like ownership, property, money, like property by, I mean, like, there was an affair. Very often an affair. I'd like to just start again. And if I just get rid of them, we can be together. And I can't afford you. I want my own money. I can't afford you and these kids. I'm just going to go start scratch. Start again. To me, that's the most.
And the crazy thing too is, the amount of crime podcasts and stories and everything, but Netflix. I'm like, every week we're getting a new special. It is, I mean, they are serving up what the people want. And I can't believe how fast they're producing shit, because they know, obviously they know.
It's a huge genre. I know it's a huge genre, and I know podcasts are off the chart for the crime too, but I just, everyone has a different reason why they watch it. Like, there must be different reasons because there's so many genres of crime. So there must be.
But there's also a lot of, like, when they say rubbernecking on the highway.
Oh, I sure do.
Like, just a juicy story. I just want to know.
Yeah. And I want to know how for it not to happen to me. So I'm going to watch it to see if I doesn't. So the why that happen? It's like, you want to know exactly why that person died, how they died, and why. You dig for that reason why. Human nature, y'all.
And I'm not sorry.
Yeah. Wow, that was a long podcast. Okay.
Bailey Sarian or whatever was, I feel like she was like the original, like she took two genres. Bailey Sarian, she took two genres. She took makeup and she took crime, and she would tell stories. And I watched her on Facebook, but she has a podcast. She was before like everybody else, and just ironically, she has a new like makeup collaboration in LA, and we got invited to her
oh yeah, and we couldn't go.
She's the original. Like she should get an award for the original makeup crime influencer. Did her makeup while telling a story.
Crazy. And she's a very good storyteller.
And she's got a great face.
Okay, y'all. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday on that note. I guess we could we're gonna look up at the crimes and then we'll circle back next one.